Oh yeah, K-pop is the best. Hello Jimmy, mission was successful last time, and thanks for the advice. Glad to hear the mission was successful. I am happy for you. However, I have a new mission. That this time I need to blend in to this drug-selling cocktail. Any advice for the weapon of choice? And perhaps the outfit, which I think is quite perfect. What do you think? Don't you think that you looked just like you? And what happened to your eye? Were you bitten by zombies? Oh, this? Nah, I just had a small surgery. It's perfectly fine. Take a look. It's quite okay. You know, Agent 1 actually got bitten by zombies on his mission, and he is still hospitalized. Is he okay though? We are not sure if we can save him. Unprofessional. Now, back to the subject. My perfect outfit. Should I change it? Yes, you totally should. I don't want to see you dead on the first moment when you enter the village. Or perhaps I can switch to this. No, no, no. What happened to your outfit? And please zip yourself first. Oh. No? Aren't bad guys dressing up like this? You know, with the belly out? The belly is so out of shape. You don't look gangster at all. Yeah, it is. It is a little out of shape. You know what? Let's choose the weapon first. We will talk about the outfit later. Well, I'm thinking about the BCM MCMR. This one suits my style pretty well. It's short, compact. I can fire very quickly in very tight spaces. Like special ops. No, no. You don't use a BCM MCMR. It's too high end. I can fire like this though. No? Well, how about this M16? Looks pretty hardcore. No, that's also not the right weapon of choice. Too old school. I like this gun though. Okay, well, how about, since you are not happy with all the guns I choose, how about you recommend me something? The VFC FNC Gas Blowback Rifle looks elegant and at the same time looks really gangster. It will be the ideal weapon of choice that suits your style. Wow. Now, that is a good choice. Good luck, Agent Andrew. Have fun out there. All right. Time to review some new guns. The VFC FNC gas blowback rifle. We just got back from Japan. It was a lovely trip. We enjoyed every bit of it. So please stay tuned. We got some episode coming to cover the trip to Japan. Guess what? We spent a little time playing with it, and it is one interesting gun. So today we will go over a lot of the details, what to pay attention with, and also the overall performance of it. Now, time for the open box. All right, inside the box, we have the classic FNC wrapped inside this giant plastic box. A traditional M4 mag, however, this one is not, instead of gray, it's actually black. I think VFC, they do have a lot of different versions. So, and a speed loader with a loader tip, which is pretty well made, and a user manual that nearly no one reads it. However, and a small Allen key that you can use to adjust your hop up. Time for the gun. And here we have it, the classic FNC. The first impression of the gun is it's actually pretty heavy in comparison to M4s or other platforms that VFC offers. This one is definitely heavier. However though, very solid construction. The bolt, it is extremely smooth. The trigger, it feels pretty decent too. The wall and the reset is very clear. Overall, I think the gun feels very nice in the hands. The ergonomics is pretty decent as well. I do like the overall balance on this thing, and folding the stock, it's something to pay attention is this little button right here. If you want to fold your stock, you can't just press it. You have to use your index finger to kind of push the little button inwards, and then push the stock down. Then you can fold your stock. And to open it, again, you have to press on this little button first. You have to press it, and then move the stock. Then you can unfold it. Unlike the M4, this one comes with 3 different fire modes. This one comes with safe, semi, burst fire, and then full auto. I'm not a super huge fan of the fire selector because it's not a fault of VFC, it's very long. The overall ergonomics, you have to turn it all the way to somewhere. However, in comparison to the AK selector, this one is less likely to make a mistake when you have the semi-only game. All right, when you flip the gun over, that you will spot a little hole right here. That is the hop-up adjustment. And for this little hole right here, there are a few things to pay attention is, the first thing is to make sure that the front pin, it is aligned correctly, because if it is not aligned correctly, you wouldn't be able to reach your Allen key into the adjustment screw. Use the 2.5 millimeter Allen key. This is the proper one to adjust the hop up. Rotate clockwise to increase the hop up, counterclockwise to release the hop up. Yeah, the hop up adjustment, it's rather stiff. So the thing I would say that it's good to be stiff because it's not gonna lose itself during the time when you fire the gun. This one has definitely got a lot of kicks. However, you definitely don't want to spin it too hard because I don't want you to break the screw or break anything inside. So still, I would recommend just use the 2-finger method in which I usually use. I will spin it. If the 2-finger can spin it, then it works. If you push a lot of force into it and it's still not working, you might need to take it apart and see what's wrong about it. Now, let's take the gun apart, in which I think the rear portion of the gun, it's relatively easy. However, the front portion of the gun, it is very tricky. You gotta be extremely careful with the little teeny screws because if you there's something wrong, you are gonna scratch the gun bad like me. Alright, to take the gun apart, it is extremely easy. First, release the magazine, take it out, as always. Now, you will find 2 pins, one at the rear, one at the front, just like the M4. Push them out, pull it. Ooh. Then, you can disassemble the gun easily. And now there's this recoil rod, your bolt, and in order to remove the entire bolt, all you need to do is just, there's this little rounded cut, move it to the right spot, then you can pull the charging handle out. Once you got the charging handle out, the entire bolt assembly comes out. Pretty nice. Inside the bolt, there's this buffer spring and the buffer that goes into the place like this. And yeah, you do want to be careful with this screw right here. This entire assembly is held by this screw. So if you found the screw is slightly loosened, make sure you add a little bit of Loctite to it to make sure that it stays in place. Otherwise, if you are in the middle of a game, this gets loosened, the gun is gonna stop functioning and you might potentially ruin the recoil spring. Now the bolt, it is, ooh, wow. Did you see that? The air seal on this bolt, it is extremely nice. Super, super nice. If I block the 2 holes, none of the air is coming out. This is really good. And let's see what's steel and what's not. Okay, the bolt itself, it kind of, I don't think the bolt is made of steel. However, the contact itself, it is made of hardened material. This one, I think it's made of injection molded steel. And for the internals, all the internal components are made out of hardened steel. So for the cut-off lever, the stopper, and the hammer, ooh, wow, very decent stuff. Like everything inside the gun are made of metals. Now before we start talking about the good stuff, let's start with the maybe you can improve stuff. Well, obviously, we know that the VFC FNC do take their M4 magazines. I do have those are brand new version 3 magazines. However, it's been doing some weird stuff, and then I think I found a fix on that. All right, let's see. Currently, none of the magazines are loaded with BBs, and all the bolt catch system is turned on. Okay, so normally, say if this thing is active, now the gun is set to semi, I'm gonna rack the gun. This one is normal. Normally it's not supposed to work unless you have BBs inside. Right, let's try the second magazine. Again, rack it. This one is fine as well. The third magazine, take a look. It's turned on, everything is fine. Rack the gun.
Huh?
And there's no way the gun is gonna stop firing even when there's no BBs inside. Let's even try the stock magazine. Yeah, it's black, so obviously it's easy to tell. I am not cool with that, just like Bada Bing. Now let's get a closer look on the firing mechanism right here. You see, this one, it's actually got a cut-off lever. And I'm not sure if you can see close enough that the firing pin, it is located right here. This little guy right here. That's the firing pin, or say the valve knocker. And you see, on the hammer itself, there is actually this hole located here. It's actually very dark. I'm not sure if you can see that. So basically, the way it works is that when you're out of the BBs, let's say use the red one, when you're out of the BBs, this thing pops up. And it activates this lever right here to push the valve knocker away, or say into the hole on the hammer. So normally when you're out of BBs and then you fire the gun, the valve knocker is gonna get away from the hammer. This way the gun won't fire since it's not pushing the valve knocker. However, I think the main cost on this thing firing is that maybe there's some slight difference when it comes to the production of the magazine. So it's actually not pushing this steel part high enough. So I think what I would do is I think I will use a hammer, slightly hammer this down, or perhaps use a tweezer and see what I can do.
Later.
Okay, this have proven to me that yes, the internals are made of very good quality hardened material, because after I hammered the shit out of it, it's still nothing moved. So I think in this case, I'm gonna take it apart. I think taking it apart, it's actually relatively easy. That you will see two screws located on the right and the left. You wanna loosen that. And there's this tiny little pin. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's this pin that you wanna pull out first.
Yeah.
You see it? Yep, so I think the first thing I will do is pull the pin out. Then after that, this way it allows you to push the pin out. You want to tap it out slowly. Don't want to ruin anything. Then you can easily remove the pin. Now the pin is out. This little thing is out. See it? Now I'm gonna try to bend it downwards a little bit and see what happens.
A few moments later.
Okay, I think I
got a bad feeling about this.
2 hours later.
That's a lot of damage.
don't want to ruin anything.
Tomorrow for sure.
So after we came back from the studio, that the bolt stop firing mechanism problem still happens quite often, and so that actually took me some time to really figure out what's going on. The first thing to say is, don't use that method I taught back in the studio. It's not gonna work. It will work on one magazine, however, when you switch to other M4 magazines, it might not work. So let's get a closer look here. That I actually rewound this part in order to make sure that I can actually adjust the angle on that. However, the problem is that this is a really sensitive system. When you have the firing mechanism working, that any slight changes to the angle is gonna affect the gun to see if it fires or not. If this pushes way too low, that means the gun is not gonna fire. But if this is slightly too high, then in that case, this gun is gonna fire all the time, even when you're out of BBs. So eventually, the best way I figured out is, instead of adjusting your gun, let's start from the magazine. Each magazine, for some reason, that VFC, when they designed their magazines, the top cap had that slight differentiation when it comes to the dimension. I think probably there's due to some production, there's different batch perhaps. So when it comes to different batch, the size changes slightly. And so eventually I found probably the best way to fix this issue is by, super gluing a small piece of plastic to this. And so this way that you can adjust the height according to, how the lever works. As long as the angle is correct, the gun is gonna fire, it's gonna function properly. However, it's just really sensitive that you probably have to slowly adjust it, and eventually it will work for you. And VFC, they did make a lot of accessories for this FAL right here that you can turn it into the modern ones that we saw from MOA. And I think it is very cool taste in which that you can switch this to a Picatinny rail that allows you to add on more sick looking, I wouldn't say sick, I think they are ugly as hell. But anyways, ugly looking style folding stocks that suits your taste.
Okay.
That you can even put on a buffer too for M4 style stocks. And traditional M-lock style rail that it's not just heavy. However, since this gun is already heavy, if you swap it out to like a aluminum rail, that one is actually pretty light based on my experience back to the MOA. And they do have a top rail that you can easily install. Once you get this latch into the top, then you can just tighten the screw and this holds in place. No wobble, which is really good. And this is my personal favorite because I'm not a super big fan of the length of the overall rifle. It's already a heavy gun and this part looks very thin. And for some reason, I just think that the overall feeling that it gives me, it's very fragile. I'm not saying VFC guns are fragile, or at least this one. I'm not a super big fan of the look on this side, in which I think the one that they used back in Heat, which looks really, really great in terms of the proportions. So VFC, they did come with this little upgrade kits that allows you to turn your long barrel into short barrel. Inside the box, it's, ooh, wow, okay, this looks pretty decent. It comes with a installation manual and there's a QR code for you to scan. Once you scan it, that you will know exactly how to install it. And it comes with a short flash hider, a new gas block, and a shorter barrel for you to put on your flash hider and whatever. Yep, since the inner barrel, it is extremely short, that I think I will just show you guys exactly how it looks like inside, take it apart, put these kits on, and test fire. Time to check out the front portion of the gun, which I think it is really tricky. This part, the first thing to do is not to do anything. You want to use your heat gun to loosen the glue, because again, VFC, they are famous for their gluing technique. The Loctite, it is extremely tight. You want to heat up the front portion of the barrel and also the rear portion of it slightly to make sure that you are able to move it, remove it, like us. We recommend setting the temperature to somewhere around like 200 to 250 Celsius. So this way it's not gonna, if you set it to 600, it's very likely going to ruin your barrel or perhaps some other components. Once you have the front portion of the barrel removed, then now it's time for you to move the handguard. Moving the handguard, it's relatively easy. That you just push this latch out, then you can easily remove the handguards. Once you remove the handguards, now here comes the tricky part. A lot of people, they would see that, oh, here's this wrench thing that you can loosen. A lot of people, when they get to see this too flat surface, like me, I was not being very smart. I started to try to loosen the entire barrel unit with this wrench. Please don't do that, because you are going to ruin the screw units located at the front. So here's what you should do first. VFC, they did a pretty great job hiding the screws in order to make sure that you don't see a whole bunch of unrelated screws on the gun, but at the same time it keeps your front sight in position. So the first thing to do is remove the sight. That's a sight right there. Then you can use a small tweezer or something like that. Spin a few times. That keeps the sight from spinning. And yeah, once you remove it, now this is the first screw you want to loosen. This one right here, and it uses a 1.5. So here, let me use a 1.5 and loosen it. And if it doesn't spin, use a heat gun. Okay, now keep it in the safe spot. Right, what do we do next? Here, we can punch this pin out. This one right here, and it's actually really tight in the beginning, so you gotta be careful with that. Wait, this pin is out. Okay, at this point you might think that, okay, it's ready, it's good to go, that you can just pull the entire thing out. No, VFC had cleverly hidden another screw in the front sight. So once again, reach this in, and this one I think it uses a 2.5. Once I loosen it, then you can remove the front sight, gas block, and then eventually the barrel. That's the proper way, and this is the part where I screwed up. You see, I was trying to spin it, and this part, it actually scratched up the barrel pretty bad. Unprofessional. Don't ever do that again. Please, there's this little screw hidden inside the front sight. Okay, now you can use your wrench to don't. There's another screw hidden right here. And you want to loosen that. And if it doesn't move, heat gun. Alright, since we already took it apart, then this one is relatively easy to take apart. Now, you can use the wrench. Oof. There you go. Once you remove the outer barrel, if you want to get inside the hop up, there's a few more screws to loosen.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Then you can remove the barrel with ease. Now here comes the inner barrel. You might need to wobble it a little bit, then you can get the chamber out. However, you might be asking, where's the arm? Yes, the arm is hidden inside, and in order to get to the arm, there's a few more screws to loosen. So apparently, there's two more screws located. One is here for the hop-up adjustment. Another one that secures the hop-up adjustment screw, which is located here. That's not very obvious. And once again, I think if they add a whole bunch of Loctite to it, please use a heat gun. I can't express how important it is to use a heat gun, because if you don't use it, you're gonna destroy the screw. Okay, now I can loosen the hop-up adjustment screw all the way out. So apparently, when you install the screw into the upper frame of the gun, you don't want to screw it too tight. If you screw it all the way too tight, it makes the hop-up adjustment extremely hard. But at the same time, you don't want it too loose, because this thing is gonna lose itself. So I would say probably just turn it to the proper position that, you know, it feels just right for you. It might take a few tries, but that's the way it is. Now, the entire chamber comes out with the TDC ring. Oh, big chunk of the ring. I like that a lot. Oh, here's another thing to pay attention with. If you set the screw into the gun correctly, this part should supposed to be flat. But if it's not, that means you are doing something wrong. You might need to loosen the screw inside for maybe a few turns, so this screw can get all the way in. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Tricky, eh? Okay, now comes back to the accessories. Say if you want to add this big chunk of metal, in which actually personally I kind of prefer this one. I think this one has got more detail to it. This one it's slightly heavier. However, if you really like the look on this guy, use it. But I think for my case, I will keep it. I won't use that. I will use the old one. And the way to install it, very easy. Just like what we did. Stick everything back. Then, when it comes to the screws, you want to start with this one. You want to kind of don't make it too tight, but don't make it too loose as well. Make sure you kind of put it into a right position first, and don't make it too tight. And then you can insert the pin first to make sure that the pin actually goes into the place. Time for the shooting test. And to install the upper rail, in which I think it's definitely it's a must, because you can add on to a whole bunch of cool red dot sights. In this case, you will need a 2.5 Allen key, and I think the trick is to keep the screw in there. Yeah. Slide this in, and yeah, all you need to do is just tighten the screw and add a little bit of Loctite to it to make sure that the screw don't get loose. And up, here goes the rail, and I think this gun is ready for some shooting test. All right, round 2 of the test, 10 shots. Interesting. Okay, it is the way it is. All right, based on the test that we just did, this one actually lifts 0.48 grams just fine. However, some people would actually ask us not to use all that heavyweight BBs. So this time I actually got some 0.36 gram BBs loaded inside the gun. Let's give it a try and see what happens. The first one, it is 20 meters. The second one, 30. The third one is 40. And eventually, when it's all the way back, that one, it's 50 meters. Let's see how it goes. All right. Guys ready? All right, 20 meters, easy. 30. Easy. 40 meters. Easy. And 50 meters. Wow. This gun, it is pretty accurate. Let's try burst fire. Actually managed to hit it. All right, back to Sammy. And we are out. I'm impressed. All right, let's get to the conclusions. I have to be honest with you guys. The first moment I got the FNC, I really think that this gun is a ugly gun. I think the proportion and everything just looked off. However, the more I play with it, the better it gets. Now this gun, for some reason, it just looked super cool to me.
Huh?
I'm not sure what happened to me, but now this gun I like. I like the look of it, I like the function of it, I like the burst fire, and I like the short barrel. With the red dot and the rail, whew, even the ergonomic is good. However, I do need to mention that yes, this gun, it did have some slight problems with the magazine, especially when it comes to the bolt lock because of the firing strike pins. However, once you fix that a little bit, I think this gun is gonna function just fine. Talking about accuracy, I do like the hop-up adjustment design on this gun. It is very similar to the FAL, in which it gives a TDC hop-up to this kind of rifle, which makes it very, very stable. I personally love the hop-up adjustment because you don't need to take your gun apart. It's very easy to adjust your gun. Once you adjust the gun, yeah, it makes the shooting experience that much better. That's it for the episode today. If you watched till here, that you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, please make sure you do. Also check out our website, purchase some lubricant pens or our Friction Pro hop-up buckings. That is indeed the best way to support us. And I have to say, the trip back in Japan, it was extremely fun, and we did a whole lot of fun stuff to explore the airsoft culture in Japan. So please guys, stay tuned. We had so much fun over there, and we would love to share the experience with you guys. Stay tuned, and we will see you very soon.